Whew. Let's see who's on. I'm gonna wait a few minutes, and if nobody comes in, I'm still gonna talk about it. I am tired, but I got some homework to do. Anyway, if y'all come in and see this early, go and give us a like, thumbs up, share it out. Hey Tanya, what's up, baby? How's it going down there in Maryland? You guys get through the winter storm? I think your winter storm should have passed, right? Did it pass? And can you hear me okay? Let me know if it passed. Let me make sure that I have my live chat on. Live chat. Okay. I'm good. How you doing? I should get the tablet out because it's... How's your weather? Okay. How's the weather? Because I think they had... On the news, they had like one more cold front coming through your area. I don't know if y'all gonna get another one. Okay. So your area didn't get hit much. Okay. Well, we had 3 people in. I guess we only got one. You. I'm going to wait and let some more people come in. We'll start talking about the bank drama. Are you still working or are you retired? Hey, Carolyn, what's up, baby? It's been a minute. How you feeling? How you doing? Carolyn, where you at in the country? I haven't seen you on in a minute. I'm going to try to start chiming in here. Well, there's a whole bunch going on. So I'm going to start trying to chime in here a little bit more. I've been trying to just think on... Okay, you are still working. Okay. I've been trying to think on, like, subjects and things to do. Because originally, it was more trucking, but that's not my whole thing. Hey, Wendy, what's up? How's Colorado? Did you get hit with storm too in Colorado? I knew the East Coast. They said something about the East Coast. I can't remember if Colorado was going to get hit as bad. Girl, I'm 54, time about to be 55. Oh, you're in there? Okay, that's right. My aunt's a retired school teacher in Nashville. I love Nashville. Girl, yeah, that's so pretty. And when your leaves change, it's so pretty. Okay, you did get... So I did think I saw some stuff, but I wasn't sure to what degree y'all got hit with it. And I knew that that's for Wendy. I knew that the Nashville, you guys didn't get hit as bad, I don't think, with the storm, with the cold front. I thought it was mainly most of the East Coast cities, I thought. And then they had some issues. Was it in Oklahoma? They had some weird... It's just the weather's been weird. Oh, yeah. Carolyn, hands down, Nashville. My favorite states to drive were Washington State, Oregon State. I like Colorado, the Rockies. The rest of Colorado, the Rockies are gorgeous. And I liked Nashville, driving in, and the Smokies. It's just Nashville in general. That whole area right there, around there, is very pretty. Very, I like how the seasons change. I love your mountains. Very gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Very pretty. Yeah, my aunt's up there. She has, which the house she's in, I want to say Franklin. It's like a suburb. It's still Nashville, but it's like a little suburb. And I want to say Franklin. I can't remember. I want to say Franklin. I could be wrong. And it's like a little suburb city of Nashville. And then she has 3 pieces of property. The one she's in, a rental, and then there's just a piece of land on a mountain. Big piece of land. When I was out there, she took me to it. But she had this house, and the house she's in, my aunt, she's kind of statusy. The house she's in, it's a cute house. It's her. The one I like is the rental. It's an old school, an old home with the wraparound porch. And it's so pretty. And it was somewhere near, she said initially it was an up and coming neighborhood, but I guess it has now become that because it's mainly Anglos now. And they've been trying to buy this property off of her, and she won't sell it, which I'm happy she won't. She had a ratchet tenant initially, and I guess supposedly she thinks it was this woman, but they went in and vandalized the house while she was waiting to get another tenant because she had to evict her out. And they took, I think she said she had copper piping, and so she had to have all the plumbing redone because they went in there and they cut all the piping from under the house. But the house is gorgeous. That wraparound porch, oh my God, it was so beautiful. And when they had one of the tornadoes there, it tore up a good chunk of parts of this neighborhood, and her house was the only one. Everything around her was tore down with the tornado. That rental house was the only one left standing. The man who was the insurance company, he was out there because several houses were insured by that company. He like, what do you do for a living, ma'am? Because I'm trying to figure out how God left your house and tore everything up around your rental home. What you must be a really good person. I'm not gonna say she is or isn't. My aunt is special. This is my mom's sister. Not she's not as bad as my mom, but they both have issues because just the dysfunctionality of the family. But yeah, that house is like my favorite property that she has. Her house, like I said, she's in a 2-story. It's nice, but this is just a 1 level, 1 story. And I think she said, because you guys have a historical black bank there, she took me by. Or the first black bank? I can't remember. I think that she took me by it. It's historical, and you may know what I'm talking about, Carolyn. It's been a while because I went out there when I was with Conway, and that's been a long time ago, like 2011ish, 12 maybe, and she took me by that bank, and the house was somewhere near there. But yeah, and it was like a historical black bank or the first black bank. I can't remember because my aunt's all into that. Again, her former husband was Urban League, so she's all into that. Anything predominantly pro-black, my aunt is into it. And don't get it twisted, y'all. I'm black. I never forget that, but there's some of it now that's to me a little over the top. I'm definitely about minority issues, but there's some of what we're doing now is a little over the top. How's everybody doing? Before I start getting into conversation. Anybody who else comes in, like, thumbs up, share it out. Health okay. My knees are weird and my back is weird. My doctor visit, I just did a doctor's visit, a physical, and obviously I know I still need to lose weight. I'm supposed to, my goal, we've talked about doing the weight loss surgery. The place that I have to go is very far north of me. It's in a city called, hey, PC Gamer, love you, baby. What's up? Welcome back. The place that I'm supposed to go, Wendy, for the weight loss surgery is in North Scottsdale. The car I have is not going to make that. Joe lives in Avondale, and he's got a lot going on right now he got a lot of family drama. But he tends to always have family drama because he's got a dramatic family. And so also he's 60. Joe is now 65, 66. And I can see his age on him. I can see even when he drives, like if he picks me up, sometimes he'll just almost stop in the street. So he's getting to that point where I really don't think he should be driving that much and only at daytime. And it's almost, I don't know if he's losing track. Like we're not hanging out as much. Probably because, like I said, he's older now. I mean, Joe's 10, 11 years older than me. Me and Linda hang out a lot more, but Linda also is, she's not working right now, even though she has money saved up because she lives in her family home that was owned by her parents, and all her other siblings have homes. So initially it was her and a sister, but her sister has Alzheimer's and has moved in with her niece, or the sister's daughter. And so Linda and her youngest daughter are living in the family home. She really didn't have any bills because the house was paid off. And only bill she has is utilities and just insurance and taxes. That's it. So we hang out from time to time, but she's not working yet. So, and again, you don't want to be a burden asking people, hey, can you drive me all the way up to Timbuktu? So right now, I'm just figuring the Lord is saying hold for a little bit. I'll be doing it. We already have, it's in the works. But, because you have to go through, when you do the weight loss surgery, you have to go through, there's like counseling, there's other doctor's appointments you have to do. They want to do a complete, almost, you got to go for a bunch of checking to make sure you don't have anything else going on because weight loss surgeries are expensive and they don't want to spend that kind of money if you're going to croak or something like that. But we just did my health check. And on even being as fat as I am, even though right now, I was going to say that. I'm lighter than when I got back here off the truck. So I did lose, I'm going to say, maybe about 30, 40 pounds sometime in between now and being on and off the truck when I left the truck. Been maintaining that. I haven't really lost any more because I still have the double chin right here, okay? So I haven't lost any more, but I'm still big. I'm big as a house. So I do need to get the weight off still. I can tell when I walk, walking a little bit better and breathing a little better because I was just working from home and I wasn't exercising. I still want to possibly get a dog, but I don't think I'm ready for one quite yet. One, I got to get a couch and getting ready to order one. I was gonna, one of you guys heard me mention Nikki. Nikki was gonna sell her house, but then she had problems selling her house and I haven't heard from her other than the fact she was having problems selling and she was taking it off the market because she couldn't get what she thought she could initially. The goal was she was going to sell her house and then she said whatever furniture I wanted. And literally, Nikki's driving a truck. So she really had the house there for her grandfather to stay in. The grandfather decided to go live with other family members in California. So now she's got this big old house to herself and she's just like, she wants to move. So she wants to move to Texas. And so the goal was to sell the house. And then she said, whatever you want of the furniture, you can have. So I was going to initially get her furniture, but I have not heard from her. And I knew the last time I heard she was having problems selling the house, which was back last year. She also was saying, hey, I got this car. I'm not going to really trade it in. I was going to give it to my father. And her father had passed. And even before he passed, she was struggling with whether to give it to him because he had addiction issues. Let's put it like that. Monty was a sex addict. Her dad had drug issues. So that's just honesty. I mean, something's in a lot of our families. Yeah, we'll talk about that too. So I was supposed to get her furniture, plus she was talking about giving me her car, which is way better than Old Man Red. I forgot what she had. Chrysler, the 300? Older 300, but good. She takes care of her stuff. So not like Monty where it didn't take care of her stuff, but she took care of her stuff. And Monty's car was probably in better shape than this one. I just wasn't going to, when I went to the younger siblings, and the comment was made by the half sister, oh, the younger brother who supposedly didn't talk to Monty, him and Daddy talked about that car, but all three of them had cars and I was going to take it. We would have gotten a car back here to Phoenix, but it became like, well, you guys know I need a car. And I was trying to be fair, but they're very close knit. And so I could kind of tell this was going to, and I'm like, you know what? Sell the car. So the goal was that they were the youngest brother, when I talked to him, was supposed to sell the car and the monies were supposed to be split up among all three of us. None of that are actually five of us. Norris, five. Because they would have sent me Norris's and I would have put it on his books. Or they could have I didn't care. None of that happened. So, and that's okay. I kind of knew that wasn't going to happen. And I'm one of those people, I'll let God deal with y'all on y'all stuff. I'm too old. And I'm way older than they are. It's over 20-year difference between me and them kids. You know what, Wendy, a friend of mine has said to me, Shannon, you're going to find out when you get there that they're doing you a favor by being buttholes. And they did. In a sense, and I do believe the sister maybe is Christian. I don't doubt that, but there are maturity issues with that family. There's also the fact that none of us had a good father figure, not any of us, and especially them. I had a little more foundation and saw something different, even though my mother's family's jacked. They're jacked in a different way from how Monty's people were. Like Monty's people were ghetto jack, country ghetto jacked, ninjas, mental issues. My mother's issues are different, even though I think some of hers are mental because of her own type of childhood dysfunctionality and abuses, in a sense. Maybe not physical abuses, but just treatment, verbal abuses, and not being the favorite child. I get it. There, some people are just jacked. Like me and my best friend, we just got on the phone today. She hates Trump. I mean, absolutely. And I tell her I feel sorry for him. And I don't want to hear that. She gets angry. I mean, jump out the plane, Jane, angry. I love her. And I'm like, and I was like, how can you not feel sorry for him? Because he could burn in hell. He could die tomorrow. She hates him. She hates that baby. And I said, You tell me you feel sorry for my father, Monty, Grumpy, but you don't feel sorry for Trump. And him and Trump are very much, I used to call him Trump's little brother, Trump Jr., because to me, they were so similar. They're both narcissistic men. And narcissism does not mean your value. It usually means it's a person who has no value. It means they have low self-esteem. So they make life all about them. A lot of it too is because they in their own way have their own damages, and this was their mental coping mechanism to be crazy. And so mentally, old boy is crazy. Monty was not. He all the balls weren't in the park. The boy was crazy. All the balls weren't in the park. Well, Wendy, I ain't gonna say he a man. He a grown male. Okay. I read the first part. Yeah, he ain't a grown man. He a grown male. That's facts. And at the end of the day, what I have learned, and this is, some of it is definitely Christian, and some of it is my own growth, because we all have something. When we look at our lives and even our own damages, how we view people. Part of me, my biological father was a dick. That's just facts. And some people, I've had associates that don't talk to me now, but they used to get upset because I would say that, like, oh, you're being disrespectful. I'm not being disrespectful. I'm telling facts. Disrespectful would be to say, and my own biological father told me I used to practice being a butthole. That came out his mouth. That wasn't mine. That was what he said. He told the truth on himself. But he was a dick, and he practiced it, and it became very much a part of who he is, or who he was. And oh boy, and what I have found out is people who are like that, who practice being buttholes. Hey PJ, what's up, baby? How you doing? People who practice being buttholes, a lot of times what I realized, and it took me, God shows me things, and I play back when Grumpy said that to me. I have some associates on mine who I know, even though they may not put into context that they're a-holes, I know that's what they are on certain levels. And I was like, when he said it, I was like, whoa, who would say that? But then it clicked for me. It was like, okay, Lord, you're showing me something here. I need to listen. I need to have my discernment ears on. And what I picked up from that conversation, we're just sitting in his house having this in Lubbock, this conversation. Grumpy was not a smart man. Trump is not a smart man. Grumpy really didn't have much going for him. To me, Grumpy was not an attractive man. He was an average looking brother. He just wasn't, like, ooh, no, not my father. He was like, ugh. And the way he carried himself, he looked like a pimp. He went for particular type of females. Hello, look at, oh boy. He went for, Trump, he goes certain type of people. Or type of females. And a lot of times these are people who are you find people who gravitate you for one reason or another. They may, or what they think they may get, or because they think they may do this, that, or the other thing. And then all of a sudden they find out the truth of who you are. And also some of them, it's either low self-esteem for Grumpy's women, or it could be women that are after maybe money, prestige, or status, like what old boy got, and he will pick them from other countries. You find that, or messing with, adult porn stars, who, again, these are type of women who are looking for one thing, and they think they're getting one thing, and they're getting a whole nother. So you draw, or you go after what you can get. And so Grumpy went for women who didn't have a lot of self-esteem. He liked fat women. There were certain things about the females that he got. So, I mean, I'm just factual, and I'm just a realist. I'm not somebody who's fake about stuff. And it's not trying to be disrespectful. It's being real. That is who this individual was. So you want me to lie and say, oh, he was a wonderful individual? That's not being respectful. That's just lying. He wasn't a wonderful individual. Certain people in my family are horrible individuals. And I got good and bad parts of myself. I got parts of me that probably some people would think are horrible too. Some that I know about, and some that I may not recognize. Because sometimes those parts of us that aren't beautiful become our normal, and we don't realize how jacked up it is. So like I said, there is a part, what's up, Culinary? I see you in a while. What's up, baby? There's parts of us who we just, I'm a realist. But my friend, she hates this man. And I'm like, you know what? A, you shouldn't be hating him. And B, if you could feel sorry for Grumpy, you could feel sorry for that guy. The dude was raised up, from what we know. I mean, reading his niece's book, his daddy was a butthole. And damaged children tend to, it comes out somewhere. It's going to come out somewhere. It's going to come out somewhere. It can come out in a whole, abuses can come out. It's going to come forward somewhere. And, and the sad part is some people can grow up in abusive situations and it becomes their normal. They don't see I have a friend of mine, he loved his mom. Mom is dead. I think that he sees no fault with his mom and his dad. Told me a story about something that happened in his childhood, how he was devastated by it. I met his mother a few times, interacted with her. I liked her. She's a nice lady and a control freak from hell. He didn't see that because that's his normal. He grew up in that, and that's normal. So now he has other people in his family who ended up marrying folks who were control freak, manipulative, conniving, and then he wants, to blame certain things on this other guy. No, baby, you grew up in that. All she did was draw to herself what's already part of who your family line is. And I see some of the same, but he doesn't see. Honestly, he is blind to the fact. It's his normal. And I had told Linda, we were talking about some things from my childhood. I didn't know where this was going to go, but okay, Lord. We're talking about some things from my childhood, and I was telling her about some of the abuses I grew up in. And I said, until I got out of it, I didn't even realize my situation was abusive. I didn't realize my mother was as abusive as she was until I got away from it, because it was my normal. I was living in a hell, and it was my normal. And even though that hell mentally was breaking me down, I'm just going to be honest. And God got me out of there just in time, where I ended up living with my grandfather, because things were going to get bad in that house on a whole nother level. And I was on a whole nother level. So God got me out in time. And then when he did, and I was able to, and I'm able now to look back, but even I wasn't even able at a teenager to understand the depth of the abuses that I had suffered, because it was my normal. That's why you get women, like, I don't know if y'all remember, what's her name? Frankie, Keisha Cole's mama, and the sister. And remember, the sister was running after her mama and she gets raped and stuff, but they still are trying to have this major relationship where, and that, for the one sister, that is the normal. Keisha had the money to go get some counseling, but that became the normal. And for Frankie, whatever caused Frankie to end up in her life, that was her normal. That is their normal. It's bizarre. It's weird. It's their normal. I had a friend of mine here in Arizona. His name was Anthony. I don't even think he's alive anymore. And we met, well, it's a long story how we met. But anyway, we became friends. And I remember he would call me and say, hey, Shannon, can you come get me? He would always end up in these fights with his brother, and his mom's going to call the police. Now, he was half black, half Italian. I'd go get him. He'd come stay with me for about a month or two. And rent-free, I didn't ask no rent. Just clean up after yourself, take a bath, that's all I asked. Wash dishes. And he would stay with me for a month or two, then he'd go back home into the drama. And every time I go get him, and he had a drinking problem. And I was like, so I always thought it was him until I finally and I had started interacting with his mom. And one time when he finally took me to the house and I saw it, he had no clue, because the madness was his normal. And a lot of times we don't realize that if we come up in craziness, we'll sit and defend crazy people. I'm not the one who does that. I'm not. I'm going to say the truth. I'm going to speak the truth. I'm not gonna tell you, oh, this person was just wonderful. It's like when people die and they were a dick. At Monty's funeral, I wasn't gonna say he was a great person. I couldn't say that. What did I say? I said, I pray he got it right. Because no matter how jacked up a person is, I don't wish hell on nobody. Hell was not meant for man. It was meant for the devil and his angels. There's much people who's gonna be going to hell because they choose not to accept or acknowledge God. But hell was meant for devil and his angels. It's not meant for man. But there's no folks go there. And like I said, I hope he got it right. Because Monty had a massive butthole personality. Narcissistic, self-centered, and the reason he dead is because of that. Because life stopped being what he wanted it to be. It stopped being the way he wanted. He couldn't go do the things he did, and he made choices to stop taking his meds. Therefore, he died. I have another friend of mine whose mother did the same thing, but hers was a little different. And my friend doesn't even realize that she loved her mom on a lot of levels, but she didn't realize that. She does not realize she's alive. My friend's alive. Her mother's dead. She doesn't realize that some of who she is, quite a bit of who she is caused by things in her childhood. When she was telling me about it, I'm just sitting there. I'm just listening. And her mother, I don't understand when females do this, forced her and her sister, trying to force herself into this, well, it's her stepfather, but her sister's real father, forced her way into the family to like them and like her kids. She would drop them off. And the family did not like him, the father of the girl, and the stepfather of my friend. They didn't like him, so they treated the two girls, bad, and that impacted a lot of who my friend is today. So, but a lot of that people don't see. It becomes their normal. You don't realize it, and you don't realize any of it. I got some people right now, love them dearly, sweet, and I can tell mama's not all in all the rocks ain't in the box. Kids are smart as a whip, both of them. And some of what's going on, some of how they think, some of the behaviors, it's all based on that's how they grew up and that is their normal. One of my associates right now, he's got one of his nephews, I'm calling him bougie. Well, he's doing some of what you do because he doesn't see it. That's his normal. What sometimes is our normal is highly dysfunctional. So I've just learned to look through different glasses. So when we talk about those kids, yeah, Monty wasn't there. They're going to be normal. And the same thing with Trump. The baby he's messed up. So I feel sorry for him because I'm aware enough that as humans, some of us grow up, mankind is born into a sinful situation, but also some of us grew up into some really foul people. And that man's father, based on the descriptions that were given, was foul as hell. And whatever his coping mechanism or to please his dad or whatever it was, he became who you have today. And the baby crazy as a box of rocks. And any attention is good. So when Monty told me I practice being an a-hole, is what he told me he used to do, what it made me understand about him and people like that is the only way that they feel of any substance, because they're not important, there's nothing about them unique or special, is to be a butthole. So I don't know if you guys remember going to school. I went to school, and I was not this kid, but I know there were kids in the classroom like that. You always had the one kid that always was like that one, either the one who created jokes in the room, which was being a butthole, or the one who was a butthole. And what I realized when he said that, this is the best way I can explain it. So me and my best friend, I can go right now. I could go anywhere. Matter of fact, Joe will say, Shannon, are you making friends? People just come talk to me. They don't know me from a can of paint. We go to a restaurant, we go to a store. I go to the grocery store right now. I'm going to tell you, before I leave that grocery store, at least 4 or 5 people going to talk to me. Could be about anything. I could be just standing looking, trying to decide on an item. And they go, what you thinking about getting? I'm looking at this. Oh, excuse me, ma'am, you okay? Okay, nice to meet you. Hi. And they might talk about anything. I could be standing in the line. Look at all that stuff that lady got. And just start. It could be just like that, okay? Going out to the car. Even the homeless people will come and talk to me. It's just like that. It's very cordial. And my best friends, her and her husband, the same way. People just start talking to them. There are people who naturally have something about them, maybe it's spiritual, I'm going to presume, that draws people. But then you have others who are of no consequence. That's not to be mean, it's just reality. There's nothing unique about them, and there's nothing that draws you to them. If you walked on the street, you'd walk past them like they were invisible. Not to be mean, it's just facts. So those kind of people who, and they may not even realize why they do it, they might, to get attention, they become buttholes. Because if I can't get positive feedback, if there's nothing special about me, if I'm not intelligent, then I'll just be a dick. That's basically what Grumpy did. He wasn't physically attractive. He was not a tall man. He was not a smart man. You know, so I'll be a dick to get attention. That's what old boy does. And then if they're males, I'll go for a certain type of female that I can draw. And at least I can screw that kind of female, because I'll get that. But anybody of consequence, ciao, bye. I'll be paying no attention to you. And if they are paying attention to you, and in his situation, it's because they think he got money and status. Otherwise, if he didn't have the money and status, he would be nothing. Nobody would pay attention to him. He's weird. He's weird. He's odd. He's not attractive. He's not intelligent. Not somebody I really would want to talk to, because just listening to him talk, the baby is remedial. I'm like, ooh, did you go to school? Because I listen to him talk as a grown man. I'm like, oh my God, did you go to school? Because he sounds remedial. When you listen to him talk, I was like, oh my God. You listen to him and most of our other former presidents. Hell, you don't even have to listen to a president. You listen to just a regular business person. And you're like, oh my God, you're a head of a company? What company? Somebody got to be talking on your behalf, because you're a horrible speaker. You have no command of the English language. Just like, you're horrible. Sound almost like you grew up in the backwoods somewhere. I mean, just a horrible speaker. And so when you realize that, and I'm trying to be mean, but that's just reality. Grumpy used to tell me, I'm not a smart man. I'm not like my father. He knew he wasn't intelligent. But what he had street wisdom, ghetto wisdom. But that intelligence to do business and to be able to conversate with people on a, no. Everybody giving a measure of something. Everybody. Anyway, that was my grumpy conversation. Not to go too far off the Richter scale, but I'm just kind of saying. So I do feel sorry for him. And my best friend and me, we just got in this conversation. Anyway, what are y'all thinking about bank drama? I got my own views of the bank drama right now on a spiritual level and otherwise. But it's not surprising to me. That's the other thing. It's not surprising to me. What are y'all thinking? Because we got the banks here, but they even got banks overseas going out. And like I told people last week, don't leave all your eggs in one basket. Have your money spread out among accounts, and when you get paid, start putting some money in your house. But at the same time, you may want to get things that are tradable, depending on what the hell happens. So I'm trying to figure out what's going on. And what y'all saw in the picture, I went and had pho yesterday. I got up. I was going to take you to the laundromat, but then the phone needed to charge. I was going to go into lunch, but then I was like, but I got up yesterday and went and had pho. And then I went over to Walmart, which I hate. Y'all know I hate Walmart. Oh, I just absolutely, it took all I had. But I needed to, Walmart I like to use a certain laundry soap. I like this soap called Persil. I hope I'm saying it right. Persil. And I was introduced to it when I was on the truck, when they had the pods. And I just love the way I throw them pods in there and it cleans your clothes good. Tanya, I'm done. Oh my God, Tanya, sis, I am so done. Tanya said, I ain't got 250,000, but I need the dollars I got. My sister, can you say that? So, as I told y'all last week, I was having the dreams of the food issues. And obviously, everything took me to depression type lines. The depression what did Monty's dad tell him? I think he said there was work but no money or something like that. And our system is built, our economy is, or the just the system on how we live is capital system. You got capital money, then you can buy and sell what you want to do. But if that system collapses, there's a problem. So y'all, I know some of y'all may exit, and that's fine. It's gonna be spiritual too. COVID happened, and I said last week, a lot of people wanted to get back to normal, and a lot of people want to go back to normal. And so I'm gonna put my shades on, my blinders on, and I'm gonna go on my bike and I'm gonna ride on in life like everything is normal. It is not normal. You should have known this was a worldwide issue. Like I said, when do we know? And I'm 54 years old. I was born in 1968. When do we know that the world just freaking stopped? Not just America. No. The world. Don't leave out your house. Why does that say that? I don't know if I've seen it. I'll have to look at it because the name sounds familiar. I will, PJ, I'll look at it. Ron Yates. The name sounds familiar. So a lot of people, they wanted to go back to this normal. The thing is that there's a domino effect. So I had, back when I first went into ministry, 9/11 had happened when I first, around the time I got my license. And I said, this is going to start a clock ticking down. Now, a lot of people don't realize that 9/11, I really believe 9/11 was the start of the whole thing. There were a lot of things that happened after 9/11. What else do we know that was a big issue that happened not too long after 9/11? Somebody remember something called the housing market and the bank bailouts then? Okay, we had that too. I got, what is that? Okay, I got something under my eye, y'all. Oop. I do have something under my eye. Hope I got it. Looks like lint or something. Might be lint. But we had it happened. So when something happens, there's usually a domino effect when a major event happens. So with the housing market, we then found out about corruptions in the mortgage industry and in the banking industry. There was something that took place, okay, when a major event happens. Same thing happened with COVID. The difference now is we're a huge global economy. Everybody is interacting with everybody, country to country. So if something happens in one place, it affects more than that one place now because we're a global economy. That's like right now they fighting with China. But if most of us go around our house right now, I need you to look I need you to look at your bottles, your glasses, your plates, your sheets, hell, even some of the groceries you get. And whose name is on that stuff? China, a lot of it. So we can sit here and understand that everything going on has a ripple effect. And COVID had a huge ripple effect worldwide. Some things got exposed. We finding out the Bitcoin industry is not, obviously it was unregulated, but we finding out that these greedy babies, some of them who started this cryptocurrency, they doing corruption because greed, when you have greed, corruption happens. And so a lot of these, hey, Flatbed, what's up, baby? A lot of these, how you doing? A lot of these people, and a lot of these banks invested in this thinking, oh, I'm going to make quick money. And they started riding the money that they had on that. So I don't know how many people understand, and this is just my general understanding from back when I worked in a bank and understanding how it works. And I'm sure there's more in depth than that. I'm not going to say I'm an expert. But when I was trained in the banking industry, Flatbed, forget, is home Texas? Because we never talked about where home was. I forgot. Is it Texas home? I know you were in Texas a lot, but I don't know if Texas is home. But when I was in the banking industry, what we found out when I went through training, Florida, okay. But what I found out when we were in training was this. And this was back when I worked for the Chase Manhattan, when it was banking, not like banking where they trying to rip you off now. Because the banks today are trying to rip, they just trying to make money. They don't give a dang about the people. Hello. Some of the banks that crashed, like that one where they sold the stocks and gave bonuses right before they got taken over by the federal government and they shut them down. That Silicon, I think it was a Silicon one. Yeah, that's what they did. Right before they got shut down, they had started selling stocks off and gave bonuses and a whole bunch of stuff. So they may have some other stuff going on with Silicon Valley Bank. But the way it worked when in my early days when I was in banking was you open an account, you deposit your money. They didn't tell you this is what they did, but they took your money and they wrote it on the market, and they would make interest off the money you deposit in the bank. That interest is what kept the bank afloat and paid the bills. Now, they then started adding different fees on there, which is another reason for the incentive for you to keep a certain amount in your account, because they already have that money out there on the market rolling around, okay? And they're trying to make money off your money. Basically, they're making it off you, them holding your money for you. Basically, they're making money off of it. That's the simple part of what the bank used to do. And so it was a plus if you had a savings account. It was a plus if you had a checking account. And then if we put limits on the amount you're supposed to have in that account, woohoo, if you maintain that limits, I know that money is going to most likely stay in the coffers, and I can just let it ride, do interest. Now, when you come and take it out, yeah, we're going to have to give you the money, and we're supposed to have that money available to you because we got everybody else's money riding on the market too. So that's how the banks made their money. Now, after working for one of the banks, y'all know that bank with the W in the name, in the wagon, for the little time I was there, and I told Grumpy, you can move up. No, bro, they got some other stuff going on up in this bank. I was like, yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I can't. I'm a person, I can't sleep. I don't care how much money it is. I just can't sleep with myself where I'm at in my life, knowing I dick somebody over the way they doing and shaking coins from people and being that corrupt. I just can't. At this stage of my life, I can't. My younger day, probably when I was younger and just trying to survive or dumb, maybe. But now at this age, no. I got a conscience, and my conscience says, no, I cannot. So, and I also knew that what they were doing was not legal. I was trained by Chase. And Chase was, at least the Chase Manhattan, I can't talk about JP Morgan. They seemed to be more customer focused, but that was where banks were when they were around anyway. That's how they built their client base. I told them, bro, they gonna have a problem. That bank gonna have a problem. Sure enough, I don't even know if it was 6 months or a year later. And Grumpy called me, and he said, you remember what you said about the bank you was working for? Yeah, they in the news. They in the news. Oh, they in the news? Yeah, for what? Exactly what you said. I mean, it's just what it is. So, and again, I think it's, well, one, that was training, but I also have a strange discernment. And I know that there's more coming. You cannot go through where the world shuts down, everything stops, and then think that everything's just going to go back to normal. The other thing was, from the Christian perspective, I also see the signs of the times. For Christians, we have a book that tells us exactly the coming events of what's going to happen. So the things that are happening now are not surprising. There is nothing right now that is surprising me. Matter of fact, like I said, I sit back and I watch the news. I'll be like, oh, we Jesus. Because a lot of what I'm seeing is stuff that has been biblically laid out that we expected. We expect the economy to get so bad. So here's what, for those of you who've never read any biblical stuff, for those of you who may be Christian, for those of you who may not be, however you want to take this, do what you want. Those of you want to leave, I understand, but I'm keeping it 100. I'm going to be me. And I'm going to go from what I know. On a biblical foundation, what we know is to happen is that money money is going to be a big issue for what's coming up. And hello, it makes sense that the banking industry would have some issues. It makes sense that the economy would have some issues. And it makes sense that it's just more than our country, because it needs to become a global event for what's coming next. All of this is what I call the stage being set. It's a stage being set. No ifs, no ands, no buts. And what's going to happen is it makes it so that somebody of a government type persuasion is going to come onto the scene. They're going to tell you they have all the things to fix your situation. Whatever you need, they got it. That we're going to take care of you. We can handle this situation for you. And it's going to ultimately be one person that people are going to look to resolve their issues. This is why I am not a proponent, if you can be, not be on the system. I have family members, I got friends, they work the system, they depend on the system. But you can become a slave to the system. And if a person comes along and say, hey, you got to take this mark or whatever so you can buy, sell, get money, eat, people who are non-resilient, don't want to work or play in the system or need the system, they just put themselves in a very bad position. And ultimately, the world is going to get there because that's what it is. And we have several generations of people, especially the 40 and under crew, who you've been entitled. You think someone else is supposed to help you, take care of you, and do all this for you. Don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with helping and blessing somebody. But there's a difference when you expect it. And we are expecting the government to help us in crisis. And we're watching it. So there's a conditioning that's happening to the mind. The insurance, and I kept saying FICA, it's FDIC. I knew it was something, I was just saying FICA, but it's FDIC. When they had banks, they're supposed to cover up to $250,000. Now, for this banking loss in Silicon Valley, they are actually covering way above that. They said they're going to cover the unsecured money. That means anything above $250,000. So that means our federal government is going to make up some more money. I'm sorry. They're going to make up some more funds. Not to mention whatever they were able to seize in the bank. They're going to put them funds together, and then what normally happens, and they had a really good show where they show how the FDIC either gets another bank to come in and take over, or they take over and run the bank as they're assessing the assets. And they're going to do all that, and then they're going to pay the people out of that money. And then whatever else the federal government's going to cover. And they're going to make the number look bigger and make the deficit look more and print out some more dollar bills. That's what they're going to do. Hey, PC gamer, more monopoly. PC, come on now, more monopoly money. They did it during Obama. How do you think the banks got bailed out? That just some money exchange. That's what they did during when they did the bank and mortgage bailout, the housing market crash with all that corruption. Banks need to be regulated, but we deregulate, which was done with trains, done with transportation, trucks, done with banking, done with the bell companies, your phone companies. We deregulate, and you wonder why there's corruption. Hello? Y'all wonder why your pay go down. Hello? You don't have unions. Hello? And even the unions can become corrupt. But at least you had something standing in between you and the company. So I'm not shocked at what's going on. From the Christian perspective, this is what's supposed to happen. And it's going to lead to a very bad result. But like I said, we have generations of folks, especially this new generation, and they feel entitled. Actually, I was talking to a gentleman in a job situation, won't say who, and he got pulled in to talk to the boss about his attendance. He pissed. Well, it's my time. It's your time. And how can they tell me what to do with my off time? This isn't scheduled vacation. This is unscheduled time. Well, so I'm entitled to be sick when I want to be sick and use my time off or not come in if I don't want to come in. There's something wrong with that. But that's an entitled thought process. It's an entitled thought process that I go to work when I want to go to work. Not that I've made an arrangement with a business that I work Monday through Friday or whatever your schedule is. I'm supposed to be here from this to this, and I'm supposed to do that. That's not the mindset. So the mindset, and I'm not saying you can't take time. I think sometimes people do need breaks. Maybe it's a mental health break, but you don't need, if you need them all the time, there's a whole month, there's a problem. But you have to be there's a way not to abuse that, and there's people who abuse it because they really think of it like it's my vacation. And when he said I looked, because I realized he really feels that's like vacation to him, because we have sick time. I can call out sick, so that's my time. If I decide to call out, that's what I do. How can you say something to me about it? Because you've agreed to do this for that. So you've agreed to get this much money to do this particular job. And they're not abusing you. Our job is very simple. This is your agreement. But in his mind, you don't have the right to tell me. And that's this new thought process of a new generation. I can do what I want to do when I want to do it. But that's also the same entitled generation that feels that the government should do more monopoly money so they can do whatever the hell they want to do. And unfortunately, the banking system, we're about to find out how that looks. Because that's exactly, a PC Gamer own it off the bat. I'm gonna put some more monopoly money on the board. I'm gonna steal some monopoly money, and then I'm gonna wait for my government to bail me out because I'm an industry that cannot fail. See, if you go back to your history and look at the Depression is based on banks failing. That's what happened. You could work for food. That's what I think what Monty's father told him. He said there was food, there wasn't no money. FDIC was born because of that situation, because of the Great Depression. Because things stopped, because we're based on a capitalist society. This for that. And if you can't trade money for whatever you need, and in our world is food, clothing, shelter, if you can't do that, you behind out unless you're growing it yourself, unless you're staying in your property yourself. It's one of the things I hate right now about renting, but at the same time, if you had a mortgage, you really don't own. You're making payments to hopefully rent to own. You're buying it from the bank, but you don't own. You can say I own my house. Is the mortgage payment paid off? You own your house then. Right now, the bank owns your house, and you're making payments to hopefully one day own it. We need to see through some different glasses. And right now, people are in this strange delusion. And again, and I know people exit because I'm saying this. For those who watch later, this is biblical. What we're seeing right now is biblical. Can't nobody tell me nothing different. And I don't know. And I guess I was watching a video by a young man that said that sleepers wake up. There are people who are asleep to it. They sense. They know. There's some that really know, hey, we're at the end times. But they will not admit on a biblical level. They won't admit that. They can't. It's like that, because if I do, I then have to acknowledge this God of the Bible, and I don't want to acknowledge him. What we're seeing is biblical events. It's too big. The storm is too perfect and moving too fast. COVID was like the slippery slope into hell. It was. I mean, it still exists right now. We're treating it's still happening, but it's not like it's now manageable because of whatever the vaccines and other medicines have come up with. And there's still people dying from it, just not on the level that it was initially. And now that slippery slope into hell hit our economy, hit our mentally, politically. There's a whole bunch. Folks just went off the Richter. COVID did a lot. When have you looked across the world and see the number of protests? Wars that we're not even talking. We're talking about Ukraine, but there's other wars going on right now. I mean, there's a plethora of wars and impending wars. Weather conditions that are off the chain. Now, we call it global warming, but like I said, it's all too perfect of a storm. Right now, some of you guys aren't even watching what's going on in the skies. We got different asteroids and things that they're doing, watching NASA and others. And people don't ask questions. Don't ask questions. Now, granted, Trump was not an intelligent man, but there were some things he did right off that should have told you he was being directed. He was being puppeteered by those who thought he could puppeteer him. And when he first got into office, there's a little department he put together. And you have to ask yourself a question, because people, I don't know why y'all don't, I'm like, why do people think? Why did he put together Space Force? Don't we have NASA? Space Force. We have NASA. Why do you need to put together a group dealing with space when we have NASA? Ever since I was a child, we had NASA. NASA is the one who dealt with anything space regarding astronauts going into space, help with satellites. Why in the hell do you need something called Space Force? Again, questions we don't ask. And since everything that matters to us is with our own four walls or with ourselves, we don't think beyond, some of us don't think beyond the walls in our house. So we don't look at the bigger picture of things. If you guys would like, y'all can go and read up on some of these asteroids coming in, some of them coming in the atmosphere and some that are getting real close. But we don't, that's too much. I don't want to deal with it. I want to live life as normal. Okay, how's that normal working out for you? Banks that are going through all sorts of stuff. And most of us use a bank in some way. Now, I don't have any bank. Well, I have credit union accounts. And I have a mortgage account. I have those. Banks are involved in some of that. But I don't have your typical bank. But it doesn't matter. It's a financial institution. And that's where we house our money and so forth. And like Tanya, I dang sure I got $250,000. Girl, I barely got $250. So when you look at that, there's a broader perspective, and we've got to start looking deeper. Everything that's happening right now is lining up towards an end time event. It's the end game. And all I can say, like I said at Grumpy's funeral, I hope folks get it right. I'm just more of a realist, and I'm looking at it. And so when I look and I see this with the banks, I was like, we Lord. And some people are like, well, shit, that's messed up. You laugh. I'm not laughing because of the situation. I'm laughing because there are events that were predicted biblically, and I'm seeing God let them flow. I'm also looking at the stages being set and what's coming next. Oh, this banking situation is going to throw us in a possible recession. We've already been sitting in a recession. What it's going to do is put us closer to a depression. And as Monty's father said, the next depression is going to happen. He said it's going to be bigger than about some money. It's going to be about food, and it's going to be about a lot of other stuff. And he has some other things. He said, in certain folk, they going to be real privileged and think they can come up in your stuff and take your stuff. They're going to be real special to take care of their own. If y'all don't know what I'm talking about, go see something called Black Wall Street. Y'all can watch it on YouTube about that. And how folks, because they saw a group of people doing well and becoming self-sufficient, and they were more privileged in their thought process, they didn't want to see those type of people prosper. They tore up a whole town and built businesses to the ground and devastated a community, all behind a lie. And it didn't matter. It would have been something, just because that's how certain folks are. And I'm not saying all, I'm just saying some. Events are playing out. Everything is lining right up, just as it should be. It's not going to be pretty, though, as this happens. So as far as the banking industry, so you can hopefully get through as much of it as you can. That's why I said, one of my goals now, every pay period, I'm going to put some money cash in the house, And when I get to a certain level of cash, I want to start buying some gold coins and some silver coins just to have in case I need to barter for something else in the future. Some people may think that's extreme. Well, you believe I do, but I don't know when God's coming back for us. So I've got to, God tells me to basically to endure during until while I'm here. I got to survive and endure. That's what I'm supposed to do. And share the gospel as I can. That's what I'm supposed to do. And that's what I recommend most people, but you got to use wisdom. Don't walk in foolishness. Let me go back. Time, more monopoly, laughing out loud. More monopoly. I love the monopoly money. Flatbed said, I almost want to keep my pennies in a hole in the backyard. Isn't it illegal to keep something, a certain amount at home? I don't think it's illegal to have a certain amount of money in your house. Where'd you get that from? I don't know. You got to find that for me. Not to my knowledge. Keep whatever you want in your house. It's your money. Well, if it has value, that's the other problem. If money starts devaluing, that's going to be a whole nother problem if money becomes worthless, which I think is kind of where we're headed. Woo! I'm telling you, as I sit back, I sit and just like, ooh-wee. I watch the banks, and then not only banks here, like you guys are hearing Credit Suisse, and I guess some other banks are coming in to try to bail it out. It's a hot mess. And who did she say? Ron who? I gotta go back and look. It's Ron somebody. Ron Yates. I'm gonna look that up after I get off of here and see what he's saying. But a lot of what we're seeing right now is biblical. People, you hear me, whoever decides to hear me. Pick your Bible up. Matthew 24. I think Ezekiel talks about some end times things. Daniel. Some of the minor prophets. But this is Revelations. This is where it has to go. It's to buy or sell, it is going to be dependent upon a person in a governmental role. And if you can get, and you won't be able to buy or sell without a certain mark, hand or forehead. Devastated economies, what else do you have? And especially as we're becoming a one world ordered economy, we're all interdependent. Fuel prices they're not only up here in the US, they're up across the world. It's so well orchestrated. It's like when it first started happening, I'm like, is this really what I think we're in, Lord? Because I didn't know that I would live to see this. I mean, we've always talked about it, but I'm living to actually see the events play out, and they're playing out back. They're like back to 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 back. You couldn't make it more perfect and fast. And even how time is moving fast. You can't make it out. And the thought process, and I would say, well, how do people get to where? But the thought process and how people think is just absolutely bizarre. I'm sitting up there like I be like with the scrunch head, like my eyebrows are gonna connect, looking at folks. Okay, yeah. Who mentioned it to me? Somebody mentioned it back there. Hold on. Who mentioned it? PJ. Hold on. Yeah, PJ, you mentioned it. I'm like, I just said it again. I'm gonna go look at him. I'll go see what he's talking about. But there's right now, everything right now is lining up on a biblical level that I can't even explain. And even once I started reading on like asteroid stuff, I was like, oh, we Lord, because there's asteroid that's mentioned that's gonna do some major damage to this planet. I'm sorry. And right now you're seeing stuff in the stars that are going on and folks ain't watching. And just what the world is doing, the flooding. And I know a lot of people are looking at the United, oh, no. You need to look at China. I'm almost wondering if that's some of why Putin went after Ukraine. Because a lot of this is going to be about food. And if you're struggling because of natural disasters happening in your country, then a lot of times when you take over somewhere else, it's to pillage it because you need some kind of resource they have. It could be gold, it could be silver, it could be food. It could be whatever it is that you feel you need in order to survive for your group. So there's some big stuff happening. It's up to you how you want to look at it. And some folks, like I said, they want to stick their head in. Like I said, I got two friends of mine. Shannon, tell God works on your behalf. But neither one of them, well, yeah, two of them. Neither one of them want to, like when old man Red passed. Now Miss Linda just, because Linda's a believer. Linda, even though she don't know fully Bible stuff, she believer. And Belinda was like, God works it out for you. Because she was shocked old man Red passed. We all was shocked old man Red passed. We're going to celebrate next Saturday. Because old man Red passed to me. Because that car is janky, y'all. Y'all have no idea. Janky. I'm like, Lord, just keep it running until you bless me with something else. Because he got a lot of issues. I'm like, blessed ran. Matter of fact, when I was heading there, I was out of transmission fluid. I couldn't even I didn't know where the port is. It's kind of hidden back in the middle, and my little short butt can't even barely get to it with that big car. And the guy showed me. He's like, you're totally out. And I was like, okay. Because the lever nothing tells you anything. I have to check oil, because the oil lever just does this. It don't never tell you if it's hot or cold, because it always sits on cold like this, and that doesn't. Yeah, it's a hot mess. The guy did some janky work to it. But yeah, there's things going on right now. So this bank thing, my humble opinion, more monopoly money will be made to bail them out. There's some good news articles on how the FDIC comes in when they know that the banks are failing. And again, this is going to point you groups to the government's going to rescue us and save us out. Are they? And for how long? And my other question is, how much power are you giving to them by always wanting them? And granted, the government is supposed to do what they're supposed to do. But there's people who just really want to live off the system and the government, and when you rely on it to that degree, there's some repercussions for that, especially if things go corrupt. And I believe we're on a very slippery slope. Very slippery slope. Anyway, y'all, we are at 66 minutes. I don't know if I'll be on here next week. I may try to do another one next week. I'm going to post something on the community board for those who are Christian or even are curious. I'm going to be doing a type of Bible study virtually. And I'll be posting it, but you will actually have to get in touch with me if you want to be part of it, because I'm going to set it up to where I'm only sending the links to people who want to be a part of it and who are in the group. In the Christian group, I already have a text group, and then I have the Facebook page, and on the Facebook page, I will link it there. Thank you, PC. Hey, Kathy. She said she come in late. You come in late. Hey, everybody. You funny. Kathy funny. Talking about, hey, everybody with the hey. She funny. And I hope y'all weather is good in y'all area. I know some of y'all been hit with that cold front. I don't know who that is. Shankatella something. Have you been paying attention to the Shankella said story? I'll have to look. I don't know what that is. What is that? I'm not familiar with it. I'm not familiar with it. You have to make me familiar with it. I'll try to see if I can look it up after I get off of here. I'm not familiar with it. But if you are interested, I'll post something on the community board, and I'm gonna set up an email address to where you can email me. We'll have it one of two ways for you to get the link. You can either join the Facebook page, or you just have to tell me who you are, because I don't accept everybody on the Facebook page. The young lady killed in Mexico by friends. Are you talking about the black girl? There was like 4 black kids. They went down there. One of them was gonna have some work done, and I think she went down, and 2 of the friends were killed, and then I think 2 of them came back alive. Right? I think it sounded like she's gonna do some cosmetic stuff. She really didn't do. That's the whole cosmetic thing. Yes. Okay, it's a different story. Okay. All right, I didn't know. Okay, I'll have to look it up. I don't know who the Shankella. I'm gonna have to look it up. I'm not familiar with it, so I have to look it up because I'm not familiar with it. But actually, maybe we'll talk about that, because that's another thing I'm noticing. The minds of people is it's weird how people are thinking. There's a level of angry, a level of anger and violence, even for people who, I'll be honest, there's times I'm like, why am I angry? Why do I want to get out this car and punch somebody in the face? I mean, there's times just little stuff that and I'm like, what? It's spiritual. I know it's spiritual because I have to thank God I have discernment, because I'm like, why am I feeling like this? And it's like every envelope, there's an aggression. There's this, I'm gonna do what I want to do. It's like something is unleashed. That's the best way. And I'm like, okay, Lord, I'm realizing this is all part of it too, because it's the Bible talks about leaving people to a reprobate mind, meaning basically you're unhinged and you're gonna do stuff that ain't gonna make no sense because you're unhinged, and I'm gonna let you go on and be unhinged because it's going to result in a very disastrous situation. Because you won't acknowledge, you want to go and do it your way. Okay, do it your way, and I'm going to leave you to the craziness of your mind and whatever spirits come on board. That's what I'm seeing, and it's extremely prevalent. It's prevalent. It's bizarre, and when you're seeing it, and it's hard to step back because, like I said, some of this is people's normal. The demons they got on board, it's their normal. The crazy they got on board, it's their normal. Very normal to them. It's Grumpy. Grumpy used to laugh about things about the extended family that I hadn't met until I went to the funeral. And I'm going to tell you, I met them and I realized these people are crazy as hell. To him, he thought it was funny because it was normal. That madness was some of who he was and how they thought it was normal. And like I said, until you can step back and you can say, whoa, this is madness. Absolute insanity. Absolute insanity. I had and just use this, I had a young lady call me because I do healthcare. And so she gonna tell me she saw something on Instagram and was using that as her guide to her healthcare. This is the normal. I want a snapshot. I don't want to read for myself. I don't want to think for myself. And then if it doesn't go the way I want it to go, you're pissed off about it because I want it this way. And if I can't have it this way, I'm pissed off about it. That's why I know some African Americans get mad at me when I tell them about current situations. When you're being stopped by authorities, whether they're good or bad, there is a proper etiquette to how we're supposed to act. You do not talk back. Yes or no, sir. Here's what you need. You do above board. Make them be the complete total behind, if that's what they're going to be. You don't. If he says stand there, stand your behind there. There was a movie, I think I mentioned this, and I was just talking, me and Linda were talking about this. 2 black kids, and it's supposed to make you pissed off at the cops. It made me pissed off first at them kids. One, because you don't listen. If the police officer told you to stand at the back, I'm gonna go get my phone. Company I'm at right now, this is not even a cop situation. We work in government insurance. These people say do not bring a phone on the floor. It's a terminatable offense. You think you cut their hands off. They be in the toilets, in the hallway. Some of them trying to hide the phone. Some of them put it in the refrigerator so they can get to the phone immediately to talk about absolutely freaking nothing. To look at TikTok and all this stuff, absolute just foolishness. I lock mine up in my car. I don't touch my phone for the entire day. Only way I'm going to my phone, it would have to be an emergency call I have to make, and I go to the parking lot to do it. That way I don't make the mistake. But for the most part, I haven't had no emergency calls. Everything I need, I lock it up in the car. We have lockers too, but I just lock it up in the car. I don't even want to walk into the building to even think, oh, I forgot to go to the locker and put it in my locker. Lock it up in the car. I'll lock it up. We want to do a lot of stuff our way. Not the best move. Anyway, if you guys are interested in Bible study, give me, I don't know if I'll do tonight or sometime this week. I'll put a post, just watch a community board, and I'll post the email address you can hit me up at. If you want the want the Bible study stuff via text, let me know and I'll tell you how to send that to me. Because I'm still going to send an email, but what I can do, there's a way to send email to text, so I'll just do it from that email to a phone number. I do have a text group, but I know them, so I don't give my number to everybody, because you do have folks, no offense, most of y'all seem to be cool, but you have folks who is. So I'll be doing an email to text. If it's the Facebook group, I just post on there, but I do need to know who you are, because we have a public group that I just post general stuff to, but we have the group that is, you have to get approval, because I've had people that I can tell have other agendas on wanting to come to that Christian group. And it's more to be a disturbance than it is to be someone who's curious and or wanting to participate in that mindset. You don't have to be Christian to be part of the channel, because I talk about everything. This is not a one-stop thing going on. Anyway, y'all, maybe next week or the week after, 2 and 2, just watch for the things like I did today with the live. Peace.